Have you ever felt like you are running on a treadmill that never stops, working harder and harder every month, just to see your paycheck disappear before the next one arrives? It is a heavy burden to carry, especially when you have spent decades building a life, providing for your family, and looking toward a future that should feel secure, but often feels uncertain. Many of us were taught that if we just worked hard enough, everything would take care of itself. Yet here you are, wondering where the abundance you were promised has gone. Today, I want to share with you something that is not just a financial strategy, but a way of living that has sustained our people for thousands of years through every kind of economic season imaginable. We are going to look at the ancient wisdom that turns a simple monthly income into a foundation for lasting, generational wealth. I am Rabbi David. I have spent my life studying the sacred texts of the Torah and the Talmud, not just for their spiritual guidance, but for the practical, down-to-earth wisdom they offer on how we manage our physical lives here in this world. Money is often a subject people feel uncomfortable discussing in a spiritual context, but the truth is that our tradition views wealth as a tool for good, a responsibility to be managed with wisdom and care. I want to walk with you through the principles that can help you break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and start building a legacy that reflects your values and secures your family's future. This is not about getting rich overnight or finding a magic formula, but about aligning your actions with timeless truths that have proven their worth over millennia. And for those who are truly serious about accelerating their journey, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is where I unveil the complete Torah wealth system, the full architecture of ancient wisdom applied to modern financial transformation. You can find the link in the comments below this video, in the description, and if you are watching on my YouTube channel, you will also see a QR code on the banner of my channel page. Just open your phone camera, point it at the QR code, and it will take you directly to the school. The doors are closing soon, so do not wait. When we talk about wealth in the Jewish tradition, we start with a mindset of stewardship. We believe that everything we have is ultimately a gift. Imagine for a moment that you are a gardener. The seeds, the soil, and the rain are provided, but it is your job to plant and protect the harvest. Your paycheck is not just a reward for your labor, it is a collection of seeds. If you eat all the seeds today, you will have nothing to plant for tomorrow.
But if you understand the nature of the seed, you know that its true value lies in what it can become when it is nurtured over time. This shift from consumer to steward is the first step in turning your paycheck into wealth. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with messages telling us to spend and compare ourselves to others. This creates a friction that wears us down. The wisdom of the Torah teaches us to find contentment in what we have, while striving for the means to do more good. Wealth is not defined by how much you spend, but by how much you keep and how much you can give. When you look at your paycheck, see the potential for peace of mind, for helping your community, and for a legacy that outlasts your labor. This perspective allows you to make decisions based on long-term values rather than short-term impulses. Many people struggle despite having a steady income because they lack a framework for their decisions. Without a plan, money flows like water through a sieve. But the Talmud provides us with a specific rule for how to structure our assets. It is a rule that has helped countless families navigate history by balancing growth and security. By applying this ancient framework to your modern paycheck, you can create a structure that protects you during lean times and allows you to flourish during times of plenty. This is about creating a life of stability and purpose. The principle is found in the Talmudic tractate of Baba Metzia, where it is written that a person should always divide their money into 3 parts. 1/3 should be invested in land, 1/3 in business or merchandise, and 1/3 should be kept ready at hand. The third in land represents stability and long-term security. In our modern context, this might be your home or real estate investments. Land is tangible. It provides a foundation. It does not usually disappear overnight, and it offers a sense of permanence that is vital for a family's well-being. When you allocate a portion of your paycheck toward your mortgage or a real estate fund, you are following this ancient path. The second third, the investment in business or merchandise, represents growth. This is the part of your wealth that works for you. In today's terms, this could be stocks, mutual funds, or perhaps a small business. This is where you take calculated risks to increase your holdings. The Talmud recognizes that for wealth to grow, it must be put to work. You cannot just bury your talents. You must engage with the world of commerce. However, this growth comes with risk. Markets fluctuate, and there are no guarantees of profit. This is why we only put 1/3 here. We do not gamble our entire future on a quick return. We diversify, understanding that while this portion has potential for growth, it also carries volatility. The final third, the portion kept ready at hand, is your liquidity. This is the cash in your savings account, the emergency fund that stands between you and a crisis. Life is unpredictable. Having 1/3 of your resources available means that when a storm comes, you do not have to sell your land or liquidate your business at a loss. You have the ready hand to handle the situation. In a world that encourages us to be fully invested or live on credit, this rule of keeping a significant portion liquid is a radical act of wisdom. It prevents the panic that leads to poor financial decisions and allows you to sleep soundly at night. Applying this 1/3 rule to your monthly paycheck might seem daunting, especially if you feel there is barely enough to cover the essentials. But the wisdom lies in the proportion. Even if you are starting with very little, the act of dividing what you have creates a habit of mind that will serve you as your income grows. You might start by setting aside just a small percentage into these 3 buckets. The key is to start. By consciously deciding that a portion of your labor will go toward land, growth, and security, you are taking control of your financial destiny. This discipline is what separates those who merely survive from those who build lasting prosperity. It is important to remember that building wealth is a journey that takes time. There are no shortcuts in the Torah's view of financial health. Just as a tree takes years to grow, so too does your wealth require consistent care. We must be wary of anyone who promises guaranteed outcomes or supernatural returns. The world of investing involves real risks, and markets can be unpredictable. Our role is to act with prudence, to do our best effort, and then to trust in the process. We do not look for magic. We look for the blessing that comes from diligent, honest work and wise management. This grounded approach protects us from the traps of greed and the despair of sudden losses. Now, let us speak about the practice of tzedakah, or tithing. The word tzedakah comes from the root meaning justice. In our view, giving is not just an act of kindness, it is an act of justice. It is the recognition that a portion of what we receive is intended to flow through us to help others. There is a famous saying in the Talmud, "Tithe so that you will become wealthy." At first glance, this might sound like a transaction, but the deeper meaning is about the flow of energy and blessing. When you open your hand to give, you are also opening your hand to receive. You are declaring that you are not a stagnant pool, but a flowing river. Giving 10% of your income, the maaser, is a standard that has guided our people for centuries. It acts as a spiritual and financial regulator. It keeps us from becoming too attached to our money and reminds us of our connection to our community. When you make tithing the first priority of your paycheck, you are setting a tone of abundance. You are saying, "I have enough to share." This mindset shift reduces the fear that often drives poor financial decisions and replaces it with a sense of purpose. When your wealth is tied to the well-being of others, it becomes a source of joy rather than stress. However, we must be clear. Tithing is not a magic charm that guarantees a specific financial return. It is a spiritual practice that aligns us with the values of our tradition. We give because it is right, because it helps those in need, and because it refines our character. The wealth that comes from tithing is often found in peace of mind, the strength of our community, and the clarity of our priorities. While many have found that their financial lives improved as they became more generous, we must always approach this with humility and without expecting a supernatural payout. Building wealth still requires the practical application of the rules we have discussed: saving, investing, and living within your means. Living within your means is perhaps the most difficult challenge in our modern culture. We are constantly told that we need more and should have it now. But the Torah teaches us the value of being happy with one's portion. This does not mean you should not strive for more, but it means that your happiness should not be dependent on the next purchase. When you can find contentment in the present, you gain the power to save for the future. Every dollar you do not spend on something you do not truly need is a dollar that can be invested. This is the principle of delayed gratification, a hallmark of those who build lasting wealth. Think about the 3-day rule. If you see something you want to buy, wait 3 days before making the purchase. Often you will find that the initial impulse has faded, and you realize you can live perfectly well without it. This simple habit can save thousands of dollars over a lifetime. It is about being the master of your desires. When you control your spending, you are effectively giving yourself a raise. You are creating a surplus that can be turned into wealth. This is not about deprivation. It is about choosing a greater future over a fleeting present. It is about having the vision to see beyond the next paycheck to the next generation. Debt is another area where ancient wisdom offers profound guidance. In the Torah, debt is often described in terms of bondage. The borrower is servant to the lender, as the Proverbs say. While some forms of debt, like a mortgage, can be a tool for building wealth if managed carefully, consumer debt is a weight that pulls you down. It is the opposite of the 1/3 rule. It is spending tomorrow's labor today. To turn your paycheck into wealth, you must first break the chains of high-interest debt. This requires a focused effort, where you systematically pay off what you owe. The peace that comes from being debt-free is one of the greatest forms of wealth you can experience. As you work to eliminate debt, you must also be mindful of the trap of interest. Paying interest is like having a leak in your bucket. No matter how much you pour in, the bucket will never stay full. Conversely, earning interest, or compound growth, is like having a spring at the bottom of your bucket. Over time, even small amounts can grow into significant sums. This is why we invest 1/3 in business. We want to be on the side of the equation where our money is working for us, not where we are working for our money. The power of compounding is one of the most practical blessings in the financial world, but it requires the one thing most people are short on: time. Building wealth is not a sprint, it is a marathon. It requires the stamina to keep going when the results are not immediately visible. In our 40s, 50s, and 60s, we may feel a sense of urgency to make up for lost time. This is natural, but it should not lead to desperation. Desperation leads to taking unwise risks and falling for get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, use that urgency to fuel your discipline. Focus on the fundamentals. Maximize your contributions to retirement accounts. Look for ways to increase your skills and stay committed to the 1/3 rule. Even a decade of focused, wise management can make a massive difference in your financial security. We must also talk about the importance of family and legacy. In the Jewish tradition, wealth is not just for the individual, it is for the family and the community. We are taught to leave an inheritance for our children's children. This means thinking in terms of decades and centuries. When you manage your paycheck with this long-term vision, your daily decisions take on a new weight. You are not just buying groceries, you are building a foundation for those who will come after you. This sense of legacy provides a powerful motivation to stay disciplined. It reminds us that our work has meaning far beyond our own needs. When you think about the future generations, the small sacrifices you make today become much easier to bear. You are not just saving money, you are building a bridge for those who will walk the path after you have gone. As you move forward on this path, remember to seek counsel. The Torah tells us that in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Do not try to navigate the complex world of modern finance alone. Talk to trusted advisors, study the principles of investing, and continue to learn. The more you know, the less likely you are to be swayed by the winds of market volatility. Wisdom is your greatest asset. It is the ready hand that allows you to make the right moves at the right time. By combining ancient principles with modern knowledge, you create a synergy that can transform your financial life. This integration of the old and the new is the key to navigating the complexities of the 21st century with the wisdom of the ages. It allows you to be both spiritually grounded and financially savvy. It is also vital to maintain a healthy relationship with wealth. Money is a good servant, but a poor master. If your pursuit of wealth leads you to neglect your health, your family, or your spiritual life, then it is not true wealth. The goal is to have enough to live with dignity, to provide for your loved ones, and to contribute to the world. True prosperity is a state of balance where your physical needs are met and your soul is at peace. This is why we emphasize stewardship and tithing. They keep us grounded and remind us of what truly matters. When you have this balance, you are truly rich, regardless of the balance in your bank account. Let us take a moment to look at the practicalities of the ready hand in today's economy. This third of your wealth that is liquid is not just for emergencies. It is also for opportunities. When the market dips or a piece of property becomes available at a good price, the person with the ready hand is the one who can act. This is how wealth is often multiplied, not by predicting the future, but by being prepared for it. If all your money is tied up, or if you are in debt, you are forced to watch opportunities pass you by. But when you follow the Talmudic wisdom of keeping a third ready, you are positioned to grow. In terms of the land portion of the rule, we must recognize that real estate has always been a cornerstone of Jewish wealth. Whether it is owning your own home or investing in rental properties, Land provides a tangible security that stocks cannot match. It is a hedge against inflation and a source of stability. However, even here, we must be wise. We do not over-leverage ourselves or take on mortgages that we cannot afford. We look for value and we think long-term. The goal is to own the land, not for the land to own us. This balanced approach to real estate, combined with business investments and liquid cash, creates a threefold cord that is not easily broken. As we draw to a close, I want to remind you that the path to lasting wealth is open to everyone who is willing to learn and to act with discipline. It does not matter where you are starting today. What matters is the direction you are headed. By taking these ancient principles, stewardship, the 1/3 rule, tithing, and living within your means, and applying them to your modern life, you are setting yourself on a course toward true prosperity. This is a journey of a lifetime, one that will require you to be patient, to be brave, and to be consistent. But the rewards, both financial and spiritual, are well worth the effort. And remember, if you are ready to take this transformation to the highest possible level, the Torah Millionaire Business School is waiting for you. For a limited time, you can access the complete Torah wealth system for just $299. This is the exact blueprint I have used to help thousands of people achieve massive financial and spiritual success. The doors are closing soon. Click the link in the comments, find it in the description, or scan the QR code on my channel banner right now. My prayer for you is that you find the strength to take the first step today. Do not be overwhelmed by the distance you have to travel. Just focus on the next right decision. Look at your next paycheck not as a source of stress, but as a source of potential. Use it to plant the seeds of your future. Be a wise steward of the gifts you have been given, and trust that as you act with integrity and wisdom, the blessings will follow. May you and your family experience the peace that comes from financial security and the joy that comes from a life well lived in service to others. Shalom.